Hello, everyone. Welcome to December. Oh my God. This is a writing? I'm not writing. This is a reading for December 21st, 2019, the last month of 2019, a whole decade. Whew, goes by fast. I saw someone this past week that I had started working with. We're both at different places now, but I had realized that 20 years ago this coming week, uh, it's been 20 years since the first time I met him when I started working in the same department he was in. So 20 years, feeling old, but it's all good. Just encourages you to not waste time because you never know. All right, at the bottom of the deck is the Queen of Winter. What deck am I reading with? Fairy tarot cards. Queen of Winter, Queen of Swords. Here's that Four of Wands from yesterday again as well. Let's see what they say. Be grateful. You have much to celebrate. Deep feelings of peace and happiness, a contented personal life. I know it's kind of dark. I just don't like, I didn't have my brightness up. Sorry. That's better. So this queen gets that's much better. Gets kind of a bad rap, I think, because not all sword people, air people, are rude and sharp tongue and cold and difficult. It's just, that would be the negative aspect of this queen. Her positive aspect is she's extremely articulate and a really good communicator. She's really witty and funny and quick-minded and can really, she'd be really interesting and fun to have at a dinner party. Yeah, and she actually communicates really, really well, really clearly. There's no emotion or blaming. It's concise and factual. And she's a really great, sometimes you need that friend that will just be comforting, and sometimes you need that friend that'll be honest, and that's when you go to your air signs or your fire signs. But she's going to say it in a more tactful way than your fire sign friend, like me. So let's see what Doreen wrote. Strong, patient, self-sufficient, funny. Let go of people or things that no longer serve you. Now's the time to focus on your career. Unmarried or divorced individuals. So there is definitely something about career going, because yesterday we had all those pentacles, and I just think some of you are really trying to figure out how to work from home or to find a way to make what you love doing your career. Okay. Four of Autumn, which is the Four of Pentacles that I don't care for. So, an over putting way too much emphasis on material things and the importance of material things. I feel as though this card comes up when someone's priorities are wrong and they have boundaries that are too strong or too weak. But usually it's focusing on the material things to the point of forgetting that we're all here having a human experience and connecting and making connections like that is always more important. All the money in the world is not going to buy someone's health if they have something that's incurable. And then losing them, you wouldn't even want that money anymore. You know what I mean? So trying to look at your priorities and your boundaries. This says manage your resources wisely. Achieve a balance in how you spend and save money. Help out those who are less fortunate. Yeah. Maybe you're going to go, this is Sunday. Um, Lots of places around here. There's always an abundance of opportunities to give around the holidays, and maybe trying to spread it out so it can last throughout the whole year. But I know it's cold here. We have snow on the ground, and maybe you can find a local place to make sure everyone has enough to eat and has the clothes, the basic essentials. It's a lot of people don't even have that. So this card, I think maybe something will touch us on Sunday that puts things in perspective. If feel like we've been struggling and worried about money, but then you see someone who doesn't even have a home. I don't know. I feel like somehow something like that will help put things in perspective. Maybe this queen, and you actually feel better once you go, oh, geez, that happened to me. Um, I worked in oncology for 17 years. I'm not in that anymore, but I was in the middle of clinic. I was in the hallway, and there weren't any people around. But of course, I was outside patient rooms, and I was chatting with someone, and they're like, I was saying how I was going to be turning 40, and I was lamenting about that. And all of a sudden, I paid attention to where I was, and I'm like, it's so shameful. I'll start crying. I was like, oh my God, people are probably being told they're going to die. And here I am complaining I'm going to live another, I made it to 40. And so it's some kind of situation like that where your things get put into perspective properly. Another work card, 3 of Pentacles. Yeah, you guys we're working really hard on something, starting something new. Management keeps coming up. Being our own manager, working together, finding a partner to start some idea. Follow your passion when it comes to your career. Be the best at what you do. Being compensated for your creative talents. Yeah, going back to whatever you love to do and finding a way to make that a career, I think is really strong. Because it can feel like sometimes if you keep going, the life is short. And if you keep going, the grind, it can just be like, well, because it can feel so draining. I took this supervisory course where I work, and the Myers-Briggs. I love that because I feel like it's astrology for work, kind of. So I think it's so cool. But the teacher, who's one of the most fascinating people I've ever met. I just have so much respect for him. He's so interesting. He's from Europe, but he grew up multilingual. He was a priest for 10 years. He lived in Singapore, and he had to move because he met and fell in love with a man. He left the priesthood, fell in love with a man, and came here where he's more accepted and he could get married. And he's just a fascinating, really interesting person. But he was saying, you're working against your Myers-Briggs type when you come home from whatever you're doing or job you're doing and you're absolutely exhausted because you're fighting against your true nature. So I feel like that's sort of what it is. Life is too short. I'm sick of swimming upstream. I want to do something that I flow with, that flows out of me, that uses my creativity and my talents and my interests, capitalizes on it. Oh my God, another Pentacle card. So this, someone wrote me, I think it was after Wednesday's reading, about how Capricorn, oh shit, now I don't even remember what it is. Something about Capricorn and Saturn influencing us. So, I'm seeing a lot of that earth energy. So this is the Knight of Pentacles. Yeah, so he is, you'll hear people say, the slowest moving of all the knights. He is slow and steady wins the race. He understands that if you want something bad enough, you just have to keep working towards it, delaying gratification, instant gratification. The tortoise of the tortoise and the hare. I think this came up earlier this week. Just do one thing each day that gets you a little bit closer to your goal. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter how small it is. Just don't give up the momentum. Just keep creeping forward. Just make sure you've done one thing, even if it's one push-up, if you're trying to get your health online back in shape or something. Just do one thing, write one sentence, one thing every day. And that's how he is successful, because he doesn't give up. And he knows no matter how small it feels, that when you look at that over 10 years, you're all the way across the country. You know what I mean? That one step will add up and you will have come really, really far when you look at the big picture. So they're very good at looking at the big picture. Let's see what it says. Prince of Autumn, dependable, protective, chival. It's funny for some reason. Chival. Like my brain, I was like, do I know how to say that word? And because I thought about it, now I can't say it. Chivalrous. My God, humorous. Gosh, I went from it's like 6:30 in the morning. I'm like a lunatic. I've already cried in the reading and now I'm laughing like a crazy person. Cautious but wise, meticulous attention to detail, kindness to others. Oh, that's interesting. Kindness to others. Nice. Yeah, just keep putting one foot in front of the other, but don't ever let go of your dreams and trying to make them a reality. Happy Sunday, happy December, and I'll see you at the next reading. Just do one thing, one step, one push-up. All right.